Alvin, I'll go ahead and start off with the you. When I talk to clinical executives about AI and machine learning, it's one of those topics where I think folks have a lot of questions, but basically not a lot of knowledge. And I think this is common when you have a new technology that comes out. It seems like the vendors really have all of the knowledge, not so much the sponsor companies and the folks that will be using it. When you're talking to folks, though, and they're asking those questions, what would you tell them about how you expect machine learning to impact clinical trials in the future or moving forward?
Yeah, so I think a couple of things there. The first thing is, for me, it's like a new technology that where I compared with a telescope, because it truly will enable us to look out in the future. That's sort of what the whole predictive capability is doing. So based on information we have, it will enable us to look much further. And if you take that into picture, we need to broaden our perspective. So you talked about the clinical trials, but think about it more in the clinical development plan and how you actually can look across both your phase 1s, your phase 2s, and phase 3s, and possibly phase 4s at the same time, and predict what will happen. So take a bigger perspective is what I'm sort of saying. And I thought I was the result.
And one of the questions we got ahead of time from Leanna, she had asked, in what areas or stages of clinical trials do you see the most benefits or optimization from AI and machine learning? Is there any one specific phase that you think will have the most benefits?
Now, the true benefit, I think, will come in avoiding failures and costs. So the benefit will be where you can make a difference, because when a trial is first running, when you've gone into it, you're basically keeping the train on the track. So the earlier in the phase, it's not even a phase, it's before you even do your first trial. So it's in the planning phase of your clinical development plan, and even the program itself. That's where you'll have the biggest benefit, because you can plan out and take the best approach. Do you go decentralized? Do you do traditional, and all of that? So it's even before you get into your first phase and you write your first protocol.
Jennifer, I was hoping you can jump in on that first question as well, because I know as part of the Digital Medicine Society, you speak to a lot of people, you hear concerns and answer questions as well. When you get those questions about, well, what will this do for my clinical trials, how do you answer them? And are there other concerns that you hear from folks that you talk to?
Yeah, Ed, in an answer that won't surprise you at all, I'm a bit of a brat when I answer that question. You know, people sort of say, you know, how am I going to apply this technology to my trial? And, you know, the question I ask in response is, what's the problem you're trying to solve for? And I think it's really easy to be a little tech first, especially when we band around these terms. And, you know, I think to some extent as an industry writ large, we're a bit guilty of it, right? We can say machine learning, we can say neural networks, we can say deep learning, we can use artificial intelligence. They're all subtly different, although, you know, there is sort of a hierarchy and some sit under others. I think there's confusion because we think more about buzzwords than being thoughtful with our language. I don't think there's a shared understanding of what these subtly different terms mean in terms of the underlying technology. And most important, I'm concerned that sometimes we're a little sort of tech first instead of challenge first. And Alvin described some really nice problems that we can solve for and some questions we can answer very well using machine learning. However, I would always say, you know, if someone said, how can I apply this? My question back is, you know, what's the problem you're trying to solve for?